The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Today on Aging Horizons, we are going to be talking with Liza Madison. She's an AmeriCorps member serving with the Legal Service Developer Program, and she's going to be telling us all about all of the great things that are happening over there, the legal document clinics that are coming up, some of the legal trends that they're seeing in their office, and some of the really amazing trainings and information that you can find on their website. So lots of really good information, so make sure you stay tuned to today's Aging Horizons.
A decade of Montana fourth graders on Energy Share. When winter gets tough here in Montana, Lily Wallace knows who can help keep your home warm. Energy Share. That's right, says Livia Little. Energy Share wants to make sure that every Montanan stays warm, no matter how cold it gets outside. Thanks to Energy Share, we'll be cozy tonight. Energy Share is not a government program. It's neighbors helping neighbors who face energy emergencies the Montana way. Call or visit our website today. Energy Share is a good way to care.
Can you say ombudsman?
Ombudsman. Benson?
Uma Doodlesman? Fortunately, you don't have to say it right to get the help of a long-term care ombudsman. If you or a loved one reside in assisted living or long-term care, an ombudsman can help resolve any issue. And these services are completely free and confidential. Now, why don't you try that again?
Ombudsman.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
You've probably seen some big-name celebrities on your TV lately talking about all the Medicare benefits you're missing out on. But the insurance companies who are paying for these ads may be pushing benefits not available in Montana. Fortunately, help is available from a friendly state health insurance assistance program counselor who can help you sort it all out. It's free, and we screen everyone for eligibility regardless of your zip code. It's Montanans helping Montanans. Call today.
Welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Katie Lovell, and today we're speaking with Liza Madison. She's an AmeriCorps member that is serving with the Department of Public Health and Human Services in the Legal Service Developer Program, and she is going to be telling us all about all the great stuff that's happening over there. Liza, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's great to see you.
So, Liza, what is an AmeriCorps member?
Sure. So an AmeriCorps member is essentially a member that usually through the federal government, through partnerships with either states or with, VISTAs, that's another thing. Those are community organizations that AmeriCorps can be placed at. Those are partnerships where an AmeriCorps member can essentially serve at a host site and really serve members of their community. There's a variety of different positions someone can take as an AmeriCorps. So they could serve in a public health kind of capacity. So, helping with those types of programs or with environmental programs. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the Conservation Corps.
Sure.
That is still ongoing, a lot of state partnerships. And so there's things like Maine Conservation Corps, Montana Conservation Corps, things like that, which is really fun. And then there's things like the state programs, like Justice for Montanans is what I serve with as an AmeriCorps member. And so that, contracts out basically members to different host sites that are providing legal aid.
And what is the purpose of AmeriCorps? Why did you sign up for AmeriCorps?
Sure, it's a really great way after your education, mostly undergraduate, but people can do it whenever, up to a point. But you can serve in AmeriCorps and provide really direct service to people in communities that are historically underserved. So people in rural areas, people that experience poverty historically. And so that's a really incredible way to after you graduate to really get started in your career and explore, things that really interest you.
And it's a year of service. You're doing it for the community.
Yes, yeah. And there's, a couple different timelines that you can choose from. This one that I'm serving in is a year. So it's 1,750 hours, so 1,750 hours. Wow. So it comes out to being about a year of service, broadly speaking. And then there's also programs like I did this past summer that were 450 hours, but it was a really cool opportunity to work on an island in Maine and serve members of the community there.
Wonderful. Tell me a little bit about the work that you do with the Legal Service Developer Program.
Sure. So I do a lot of face-to-face interactions. That's kind of hypothetically speaking, in that I talk to a lot of our clients over the phone. Sure. But it's very public-facing, so I talk a ton with clients all over the state who are calling into our program. So our program does, touch all members of our state community. So it's not just Helena, it's not just Billings. We really try to target people everywhere throughout the state. Sure. And so a lot of clients will call in and I get to talk with them. I get to hear about what they're going through and, try to direct them towards the right resources if at least we can't help them. But if we can, I go through that process of getting them onboarded with us and, facilitating any communications.
What type of services does the Legal Service Developer Program offer generally?
Generally speaking, we can offer advice. So our legal staff are contracted with our program and they serve remotely, so they can talk with anyone, across the state. And they can provide advice on a variety of legal issues. So that pertains to mostly matters in civil law. But it doesn't include things like criminal law, medical malpractice, things like that.
Sure.
And we can't provide representation as part of our funding through the Older Americans Act. We cannot provide representation. So sure. It's something where we can broadly offer advice and guidance on how to move forward with a legal issue. We can discuss your options, and then we can also direct you towards, some referrals for attorneys in your area that we know are really good, or we can direct you towards some information on how to fill out forms, on what forms you may need to fill out depending on your situation.
And who are the clients? What is your constituent base?
Sure, so it's adults over 60, and it's also adults with disabilities.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, I feel like this is a fun fact from Montana, but it's something that we are the grayest Western state.
Sure.
So we're a very, elderly population here in our state, which is incredible, but that often means that we have to really think about the services we're providing, and thinking about public health and human services kind of from that point of view.
Sure. So we are getting more and more clients calling in instead of fewer and fewer.
Sure. Yes. And it's also something that, we have a lot of questions pertaining to estate planning, particularly because of our clientele. So that's something that we really try to address and give a lot of guidance in that arena, because it is so complicated and there are so many questions surrounding, getting older and what do I have to prepare for and how do I set my family up for success and how do I deal with all the complex things of, settling my estate. And a lot of people, often don't want to think about that, which is completely okay. But this is supposed to be a space where you can talk about those things and feel really prepared and know that you're going to go through that in a really incredible way for your family and for yourself. And may not be incredible at times, but overall it can be really productive and healthy to have these conversations.
Wonderful. When we get back, I want to talk a little bit about sort of the legal trends that you're seeing in your office. So make sure you stay tuned, because we're going to talk a little bit about some of the trends that we're seeing facing older adults in Montana as far as their civil legal needs. And we're going to talk about an opportunity to have your estate planning documents done at a legal document clinic coming up into an area near you. So make sure you stay tuned.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
You mean I can get help paying my prescription drug premiums?
Let me get this straight. I could be eligible for help with my family's prescription premiums even though I own my own home?
And our assets won't be counted.
If you're a Montana resident enrolled in the Medicare prescription drug program, you could be eligible for help paying your premiums. Call or visit the Big Sky RX website today to find out, even if you think you're over income.
What do you know about that? I'm eligible.
When I found out it was diabetes, my first thought was, Barb, you need help. You have to take control of this. There is help. My doctor gave me a phone number. I called and signed up with a diabetes educator. There is help. I have to put blinders on when I walk past the bakery counter. I can feel my blood sugar go up. You succeed a little at a time. If you have diabetes, help is available. You do not have to do it alone.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. Today we're speaking with Liza Madison. She's an AmeriCorps member that is serving with the Legal Service Developer Program at DPHHS. And we're talking all about that program and all of the services that it offers. Liza, thank you again for staying with us. You know, I know your office works with civil legal issues. Have you seen any trends in areas of the law that you're seeing more questions coming in recently?
Sure. So we're seeing a lot of questions surrounding housing, and you know that usually does happen a lot during the winter when people receive eviction notices and they really have nowhere to go. And that's a really speedy timeline. Once you get served an eviction notice, you don't have that much time. It's usually about 30 days notice before you have to leave the residence. So that's something where we really try to respond to those quickly and give best guidance as we can pertaining to those issues, but we do see that a lot coming into winter.
Sure.
Especially after the holidays, we do see a lot of people calling in about estate planning because they're realizing this is something to start thinking about, start planning for.
Sure.
And then we're also seeing a lot of things with rental prices going up, especially as outside companies are kind of coming into the Montana housing market. And so that's something, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot.
Yeah.
And we're also seeing a lot of issues with contractors and, you know, sometimes some really unfair practices on contractors' part that do affect our clientele. So that's something we do try to talk with our clients about and direct them towards the right resources for those kind of instances.
Is there some general rules or general thoughts that you might have that folks could think about, you know, when they're looking at maybe a rental property or a contract issue, something like, you know, call first or something like that? Is there anything like that that you could share?
Yeah, I think especially with contracts, you know, sometimes you may find the terms relatively, you know, simple at first, but there are a lot of, you know, backlying kind of information that can sneak into contracts. And so it's a really good idea to have those read over by an attorney if possible, or you could check with our office to see, you know, does this document look legit? Like, does this look like something I can sign? Is this reputable? All of that. So it's always good to have someone review it, have someone look at it before you sign something. That's always a good rule of thumb. If you've already signed something and you realize that this is not a great contract, that the contractor has kind of scammed you, potentially, you can call us and we can direct you towards a couple different resources. So there's a really great Office of Consumer Protection within the DOJ. and they can investigate things like this, unfair and deceptive sale practices. So that's a really good thing to look into. And then we also have an elder justice prosecutor when things like, serious financial exploitation occur, that we can direct towards Mike Fanning at the state level.
And when someone contacts the Legal Service Developer Program, should they expect to receive a bill from your office?
No, so the services are entirely free. So yes, so we can do entirely free services, and it's hard because we can't provide representation and we can't draft documents for people, which is unfortunately what some people need a lot of the time. But thankfully we are able to direct clients towards our website, where we have some free legal forms pertaining to estate planning. So things like a simple will. If you have a simple estate, you can fill that out online, print that, have it witnessed, have it notarized, and that's a really effective way to start planning for, your end of life kind of transition. So that's something that we really try to do, and we try to really make those options accessible.
And these are Montana specific forms, so they're not something like you could get from Staples, for example.
Yes, they're Montana specific. They abide with the statutes, and of course we always recommend that people get their forms reviewed by an attorney, but this is a really great way, if you don't have those resources, to be able to make sure you're abiding by Montana law, because all that stuff can differ from state to state. And we have things like intestacy law, which is like how property is inherited, and it gets really complicated. So these are really good forms to deal with Montana law.
Wonderful. Is there anything else on the website that folks should check out while they're there looking for the forms?
Yep, so there's those free legal forms. We have a variety of those, and then we also have training sessions. So we have a lot of recorded training sessions pertaining to everything to guardianships, and then we have things like what caregivers should think about, and we have things about scams, and we have videos that focus on victims of elderly victims of abuse. So we have a lot of really incredible trainings that can help you get acquainted with a lot of issues facing elderly populations in Montana.
Wonderful. And I know a lot of those trainings are presented by, experts in the field. So it's really nice to get that information from someone working in that on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a lot of people that really care about these issues, are working with them all of the time, and really want to share their expertise. So it's really valuable.
All right, when we get back, I want to talk about legal document clinics, because I know those are always a favorite of our audience. So make sure you stay tuned, because we're going to talk about the legal documents clinics that are coming up in 2025. There's much fewer this year, so you're going to want to make sure that you stay tuned, and if you're in an area where one of those clinics can happen near you, make sure you get registered, and we'll tell you how to do that when we get back. So stay tuned to Aging Horizons.
Hey caregivers, did you know that respite time is your time? How will you spend it?
How about some good old-fashioned me time for starters?
Michelle Smith, Helena.
Or maybe play a high-stakes game of volleyball with my other kiddo. Gotta teach him who's boss, I could even make my famous spinach lasagna. Never hear any complaints about that.
Montana Lifespan Respite. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
Hey Mom, more lasagna please?
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
I've been shooting since I was young. It's something I've always enjoyed. I wasn't feeling like myself, but my friend noticed. He asked if he could hold onto my guns temporarily. At first, I was a little shocked, but then I agreed. I think he saved my life that day.
Medicare loses $60 million in Montana each year, $70 billion nationally. Medicare processes 4.5 million claims a day. They don't know who your doctor is, but you do. Mistakes can happen.
Read your Medicare statements and call Montana Senior Medicare Patrol if you see anything unexpected.
1-800-551-3191. This project is supported by a grant by the Administration for Community Living.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. Today we're talking with Liza Madison. She's the AmeriCorps member serving with the Legal Service Developer Program. And we're talking all about the civil legal issues that they can assist you with. And now we're going to talk about legal clinics. So, Liza, I know legal clinics have existed in the state for about a dozen years at this point. Can you tell me a little bit about what that program is and how it functions?
Yes, so they are legal clinics that are essentially providing really essential estate planning documents to seniors across the state. And they are incredible because they give an opportunity for people to actually come in person to talk with attorneys and legal professionals about their wishes. And while they're there right in front of us, we can draft a simple will, we can draft a healthcare power of attorney, a financial power of attorney, a living will, which is essentially an advance directive for your health. And we also have a variety of advance directives. So there's a general one, and then there's one that specifically pertains to dementia. And so you can outline, your wishes for treatment and just generally your wishes for your life if you do develop dementia. So that's really incredible. We also offer transfer on death deeds at those clinics, which are a great way to essentially outline a beneficiary to real property and make sure that gets to the designated beneficiary after your death. And that can, diminish some concerns with probate. And then we also have things like declaration of homestead, which can protect your property up to about $400,000, I believe. Right now, it goes up year to year. But that protects against unsecured debt, so things like credit card debt, medical debt, things like that. It doesn't protect against secured debt, though. So that's really something really great that we really advise people to do on a regular basis because it can protect your assets considerably. And then we also do offer affidavits to terminate joint tenancy. So that's something we see a lot throughout the year of maybe your spouse has passed away and you realize that your spouse's name is still on the deed to the property. And for tax reasons, that has to be changed. And so we help with an affidavit to terminate joint tenancy, which is you write up this document, and then we also can do a realty transfer certificate with you, which just essentially transfers the property to you for tax purposes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So when someone wants to come to a clinic, what's the process for them?
Absolutely. So they'll call me. So if you call our office, most of the time you'll be reaching me and I'll be able to chat with you. But with the legal clinics, you're going to make sure that you call my number and we're going to get you registered for a clinic. So I'm going to tell you the dates, the times that you can attend, and then I'll get you in one of those slots. I'll send you an intake packet where you write down a bunch of information for us so we can be prepared prior to your appointment, and you send that back to me before the clinic. So we can have that in our system, our legal staff can look at that, and then we can prepare the necessary paperwork that we're going to help you with.
Wonderful. And before someone calls to make an appointment, is there any type of information that they need to have sitting in front of them?
Yes, so we would love if you had some information about, your name, which hopefully everyone should have good knowledge of, but your age. Also, we ask a variety of questions related to marital status. We talk about, veteran status as well. We also may, ask about your income. We may ask about your demographics. And so we may also ask about addresses and your phone numbers. So those are generally the questions we may ask. But then when it gets to the intake packet, it gets a little bit more specific. So that's when you'll start listing, beneficiaries, spouses, all of those kind of wishes in more detail.
Sure, but that one comes in the mail. They don't have to have that information on
Yeah.
the phone. Right?
Yeah, that comes after we talk.
Wonderful. Where are the clinics in 2025?
Yes, so the first legal document clinic is going to be in Great Falls, and there's 2 separate days, so you can attend one of those days. You don't have to come to both of those, but it's on April 30th and May 1st.
Okay.
And it's generally between 9 and 4 p.m., and we have several time slots throughout the day that are an hour and a half each. So that is something that you can sign up for either April 30th or May 1st in Great Falls. And then the second one is in Butte, and that is May 21st and May 22nd.
Wonderful.
And again, you just have to attend one of those days, not both of them. And there are, again, same time slots, same hour and 30 minutes, and you'll attend during those time slots, and we'll do those documents then.
So folks won't attend the whole day of the clinic. They'll just come for their appointment.
Just for their time slot.
And do folks have to pre-register, or can they just walk in?
They have to pre-register. So yes, you really should call me before. Unfortunately, if you show up, that's something that we really couldn't help in that case, because we do have to prepare, okay, we're helping this person with this paperwork on this day. We're going to make a whole folder dedicated to this person and what we're going to help them with.
And I imagine you have to have the correct number of volunteers too.
Exactly, yes. So we have to plan for how many legal professionals we'll actually be able to have to help with the number of people we have registered.
Wonderful. So if folks have questions about the program or to register, who do they talk to?
They can talk to me. So they can talk to me at my number, which will be listed at the end of the program, I believe. And you can chat with me about that. We also have a legal services developer starting at the end of the month, which is exciting, and she will be a good contact for the program. And you can ask her about, the clinics, all of that. For now, though, you can definitely get in touch with me and ask me any questions. And you can ask me questions after, the start date of her as well.
And what is the cost for participants in the program?
It's completely free.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So the document clinics are also completely free.
What a wonderful service to the community.
Yes.
Well, Liza, thank you so much for joining us today. It was so wonderful to hear all that information and all about that wonderful program. So thank you for staying tuned to Aging Horizons. Those legal document clinics are an incredible resource. If there is one coming to a community near you, either the Great Falls or the Butte area, make sure you call and get registered, because those spots fill up incredibly fast. It's a wonderful opportunity to sit with a volunteer that's really knowledgeable, have your documents notarized, copied, and you'll leave with a completed packet of estate planning documents. And make sure you check out that website for all those incredible resources. And thank you for staying tuned to Aging Horizons. I'm your host, Katie Lovell.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.